All right, what an evening. Good evening, everybody. I am inexcusably late. For those of you who don't check out Twitter, I have been having some internet problems today, and they seem to have settled out. I mean, the problem with internet difficulty is that you never quite know like how to like when it's done, right? The last thing I wanted to do was go live and suddenly discover I wasn't able to broadcast. But it's been stable for the past hour or so, I think. And then I also had some work to get through. Excuse me. Partly because I had the difficulty with my internet more or less all day today. Hey, Olaf, I'm sorry I'm late. I know, especially given what happened Friday, where that was a choice. I'm feeling like a bit of a goof. Now, I have a meeting tomorrow, a fairly important one. So, normally I like to say, I recognize that there is a bit of drift in the... I recognize there's a bit of a drift in terms of the start times on the channel, and what I can at least try to do is promise a certain length. Like I said, I'll mess up. That's kind of a given. I wish I didn't. I wish I could be more consistent, but there's lots of things that I wish. But normally what I can say is that when I'm ready to go, and we can enjoy the time that we have together. Given the hour though, and given that there is the work stuff is handled. Like, I tried to do what I could sort of on my personal computer and just copy over what I can. And then there's also a certain point where I don't want to be working for free all the time. But it does mean that I am going to want to make sure that I'm sort of switched on at work pretty much the second that I start, and that is not conducive to going all night on stream. So I don't have a specific drop dead time for the stream yet, but just as a heads up, this may be a bit of a shorter stream, and that's mostly due to circumstances beyond my control. But we are going to load the Neutraxian rum runners and see where we're at. I will mention this weekend. This isn't related to Stellaris, but I was doing something related to a new video series that I will be doing, which I will confess I don't have a specific date for yet, but I will, I'll announce when it's ready. One of the funny things is that I spent probably a day testing something, only to decide basically this morning, just before I started work, to abandon it and to take the most interesting part and make it the shortest part of the story. It actually caused my computer to blue screen every time I loaded it. So that was a bit of a surprise. But obviously my computer's working, so no need to worry there. Yeah, I was surprised. It was actually related to the I think it was related to the Game Pass, like the Microsoft Games or the Xbox thing. Now I don't, I think if I decided to move forward with the thing I was going to do, it probably wouldn't have caused a problem. But I'm obviously really glad that I didn't invest too much in this forbidden and heretical practice. But yeah, anyways, something of an interesting interesting run. So Stellaris, things are tough. So we've been beaten up by the Grey Tempest. Our ally. So one bit of good news is that our ally has woken up and they are really ready to clobber the bad guys. Unfortunately, I made this somewhat bold attempt to take the terminal egress, and in trying to hold it, I lost pretty much my whole devastating fleet. So a great example here, the Loxon Grakva Royal States. I believe they actually used to have a superior navy to me, but of course the fact that I've got such a strong ally would keep them from attacking me. So I sort of have a twofold problem. One, I want to try and claim the terminal egress. But number two, I want to try and expand. If I can't stop the Grey Tempest, I at least want to be able to take someone over. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on. The other thing that's a shame is I'm no longer on the council. So at the current rate, so my ally, the Nar Consciousness, is sort of the biggest power now. The Tecarus Link is the second. They used to be the big one. It's actually the Enlightened Kingdom of Conoramus, which is a pretty much on their way to becoming a rival that it does me. Now, I'm not too worried about the Loxon Grakva Royal States. I'm probably going to be able to get my my navy up to be able to make this work. But being able to overcome the 7.3, that's another question. And because that's a question of more than just navies. So there's a lot on my plate. So first thing I want to do is get myself up to full strength as far as my different fleets are concerned. That means getting these numbers. Oh, nuts. Where's my notepad? I think I'm going to have to step away from the keys for a second just to get my note. Well, I can use my tablet, but I still need to get something to write with it. But yeah. So it's not as catastrophic as it seems as far as rebuilding my fleets are concerned. The path that I'm ultimately going to follow will be to rebuild the fleets, move into the Zorakan black hole, and basically harden it as soon as possible. Even if the end result is me just completely dismantling that base, I don't want to leave anything to chance there anymore. Shipyards, defensive platforms, everything goes into holding that. Then we move into the terminal egress and do the exact same thing. We do not dismantle the Zorakan black hole until we have terminal egress. And that'll be where it goes. The biggest thing that I'm worried about here is that the other empires may try to take terminal egress before me because, of course, I've cleared out all the Grey Tempest. But before I do any of that, I'm just going to take a quick second here. I really like writing myself IOUs for my fleets. And I am just going to take a quick second here to get something. It's actually kind of dark here, so I won't use my normal pen and paper, but I am going to just grab a tablet. Also, I got a new data book, which made me very happy. And I won't say exactly what, but someone... What? Ah, cool. Sorry, just looking at my notes. Somebody was preparing a talk, and they mentioned some data that I gave them. And actually, it was really casual work that I did. This is one of the things that's a little surprising to me, is that some of the stuff that I do, I think is just like a throwaway, whatever. And somebody's using it in a talk, and that made me feel great. So, highs and lows. All right. So let's think about where we are in the Empire. So my current IOUs. So 2 battleships, 4 cruisers. There's something of an argument for like going nuts with the smaller ships against the Grey Tempest, but these fleets have kind of served me well so far, so I'm gonna stick with it. I think at least some of the difficulty I was running into was just because I didn't have enough time to repair rather than rather than the even division not working out. Okay. So, oh, do I not have... Oh, yeah, okay, I do. So, battleships are taken care of. So cruisers are up next. I may consider spending on alloys, but we'll wait. We'll see where we can... We'll see where we can take that. Okay, so next up, once we... Okay, so we're currently at 153 for our limit. So at the very least, I want 3 full fleets, ideally 4, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. So I'll at least start penciling this in. Okay. I probably want to have 4 fleets if I'm completely honest, but 4 is one of these things where I'm like, it's possible. You know, like I kind of need to wonder whether or not I'm actually going to be able to achieve that. Looks like these worlds. Oh, okay. So we're gonna want more jobs. Okay, this actually isn't as bad as I thought it might be. We do want to figure out what we're doing with Grunner Prime, though. So this has been one that's been quite focused on consumer goods. We are currently buying 95, so there's actually a fairly strong argument to building up some civilian industries. However, I don't have minerals right now. I'm actually only generating 49 a turn. So, I do have a planet that's working on the minerals thing, but I'm not going to build anything until I absolutely have to. Alright, a tricky position for sure, but I think we're going to be able to see it through. I mean, it's tempting because of the labor, but I think I'll leave it be for now. Actually, honestly, let's just babysit the... Actually, I'm going to do something a little... Now, you know what? I'll get us up to 2 full fleets first, and then...
Incoming transmission. Let it go to voicemail.
The Nar Consciousness would like a research agreement. We have much to learn from one another, Raxar. We propose the creation of a research agreement between our empires. I like the sound of that. I'm glad that we're on good terms. Oh, we've already got unemployment. Okay, so normally I wouldn't do resettling, because there's clearly more jobs for these guys to do. However, we do actually need people mining on Zygar Prime. So this is one of the rare times where I'm actually willing to do that relocation. They're not an ideal species for that kind of work, but they are a slave, and you know, it's available to me. So let's see if we can aim a little bit higher. So civilian industries for now. I think there's an upgrade that I can do. Yeah, Ministry of Production, which I'll probably want to put on this planet at some point. Migration Treaty between the Confederation of Zaco and the Enlightened Kingdom of Conoramus. So I think there's probably going to wind up being a fight between me and those... oh.
Technology discovered. Rad.
Keep forgetting I'm broke as far as minerals are concerned. Alright, advanced spectrometry combined with fracking techniques and chemical flushing to rapidly exploit shallow and mid-depth deposits. Cruiser build speed's definitely one that I can definitely one that I need in the near term. At some point I do need to finish habitat expansion. So as always, we go for the cheapest tech, and in this case standardized cruiser patterns is the cheapest, so... And the Tecarus Link have made peace with the Miravadi Imperial Sun. So that's not so good for me because they are part of a coalition that will probably want to take me on. And they don't like the Elamine, who... Actually, this could be useful because the Elamine right now are currently in a defensive pact with them. But if this is signaling that that may be fracturing, I can possibly swoop in and turn that to my advantage. So we'll want to keep an eye on what's going on with that relationship. Okay, so... I believe I only need one more cruiser for that fleet. Idle science ship, that's no good. So I don't recall exactly why I built all these science ships. Right now I'm just going to go send them out exploring. Okay, I just need to double check that I've got the right number of cruisers. So currently we have 4. We're building 2 or 3. We're building 2. Ah, okay. Okay, yeah. No, I just need one more. And no unemployment.
Boom. We built something.
Okay, good news there. So again, this is going to be sort of messing a bit with our unity, but we are finally closing off a few of our borders. I do kind of consider this to be sort of my domain as well, but I've got bigger problems right now.
Complete.
I will do some reckless expansion when I can, but we need to chill out a little bit and focus on what's most important. Esteemed boss Farglek, a decade ago the Neutraxian Rum Runners pledged to support the Artisan Troop, and so you have. The time of your patronage is coming to an end, but we would be remiss not to ask, would you care to renew your subscription to the finest arts and crafts in the galaxy? Actually, funny this comes up. This weekend I spent a lot of time looking over some old Kickstarters that haven't really delivered on their promises. I've got a couple that I participated. If you want to know what they are, I will, but I don't like initiating the conversation on something that's negative. But, I mean, first of all, people can be very mean on Kickstarter. And I can understand the disappointment, but I can also see why some designers stop responding on them, because there's absolutely there's just no information transfer anymore. It's just an opportunity for people to beat up on someone where clearly things didn't turn out well. I mean, there are definitely some legitimate scams as well. Well, illegitimate scams, I suppose. There are genuine scams. Genuine scam still sounds wrong. There are scams on Kickstarter, and we shouldn't pretend otherwise. But I do think that, there's a famous road paved with good intentions, and I have a feeling that is quite a bit more common. But yeah, one way or the other, I spent probably more time than I needed to looking at Kickstarters that I didn't necessarily back, because I was looking at the Kickstarter that I did back and regretted. The Kickstarter... I know that this isn't exactly what the Artisan Troop is, but I'm going to call it the Kickstarter Troop. Let's take the deal. That's one of the reasons we were saving up the energy credits. Plus, we don't exactly have a ton right now. I really do need to get the Enterprise running. I'm a little reluctant to keep adding anything to the Enlightened Kingdom of Conoramus, just because we're probably going to wind up going to war with them relatively soon. However, the Nar consciousness is a great target if the opportunity comes up. I do just want a quick... So I don't have... Right, we're trying to build up to 100. Council elections. Oh, already. Wow. Okay, well, obviously we have no hope of getting onto the council, so that's unlucky for us, but we will persevere.
Technology acquired.
All right, a more extensive training program for new recruits, including realistic combat scenarios. Prepare them for the field. Ecological adaptation, no. Interstellar economics. So I don't usually use the malls, but I mean, it wouldn't be a bad way of generating some trade, I suppose. Oop, we are sitting idle on our fleet needs. Okay.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
Okay, just 3 more of those. Once we get to the destroyer and corvette side of things, we're in pretty good shape. All right, so I believe we are not in compliance with the Military Readiness Act. Now, the ship upkeep hurts, but it is actually something that I would kind of like to have in the long run. It's actually just because I'm currently underweight that I didn't want that to pass. But we'll make the most of it.
Boom! We built something.
Okay, infrastructure is down. Probably want to put another. Actually, you know what? Ministry of Production. So I do need to find a planet for the Ministry of Culture. I was meaning to work on that, but obviously I have a few other things I need to be working on right now. How many more destroyers did I need? It says 3 on here, but I don't actually believe that number, so I've got 2 more in the queue. Oh, okay. Well, I can shut up. There we go. And the new council, the Narconsciousness, the Tecarus Link, and the Enlightened Kingdom of Conoramus. Now, there are some good things and some bad things about this. The Narconsciousness is my ally, so that's good. I suppose the other thing we can look at this as, the 2 most powerful members of the council are hey Conans, yeah, it's definitely, I'm definitely, like, after such a hectic day, I was kind of reflecting on Stellaris, and I'm like, this is not going to be an easy this is not going to be an easy evening. But that's fine. I mean, if I liked playing, you know, Stellaris or Europa or any of these other games, only because I kept winning at them, I feel like I'd kind of be missing the point. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a bumpy ride. So far, the one bit of good news is that nothing's come out of the black hole to eat my stations here. It's actually one reason I'm sitting on some influence. First of all, we've got storage space for 1,000, so that's, you know, that's nice. But the other... Oh, actually, we also have space for another Starbase. So there's actually a side of me that wants to stick one down in Zygar, just because that's going to be a nice shot in the arm for the economy. Now, there are going to be some... So this is the dilemma, right? I never actually run fleets through this. Maybe I should actually start protecting my... Well, yeah, what else am I going to do with it? I know there's like a huge expense. But for the time being... I'm not upgrading the fleet yet, so we might as well try and recover a little bit of that cash. So yeah, there's a really good argument for Zygar just because of so much trade that I can pull out of that. On the other hand, I'm willingly saying that yes, I'm going to go over the limit so I can get the black hole. But honestly, this is the right call. So let's... Oh, I don't have the alloys. Also, I had some science ships kicking around that I sent on an automated run. There was definitely something in my territory Are they really gonna... It was Zygar, was it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm really scattered right now. Gonna try and roll those numbers back. Yeah, sorry, I lost it.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
Oh yeah, one thing I was going to say was just I do want to protect this from the Nar consciousness if they try to take the Zorican black hole. Otherwise, it's really just a question of trying to rebuild as quickly as possible. Okay, so we're down to 19 for the Corvettes. I'm a little sad to see the intel on these guys fall, but I've just got other priorities right now. Our minerals are slowly starting to edge up, but that is going to be offset by the additional consumer goods production that's happening on Gruner Prime. Alright, plasma cannons, the latest in plasma weaponry. These cannons are fully militarized versions of the older, somewhat improvised plasma throwers. Their plasma projectiles are even deadlier. So I really kind of want to leapfrog things and go to Sapient Combat AI, but again, we're also trying... I guess here's the way that I look at this. If I exercise some discipline, and if I continue to just just raise that floor for my tech, and I move towards claiming terminal egress, then I get a big prize, and then I can start going nuts. I mean, we're already at, focusing arrays, so it's not like we're not, it's not like we're not in shooting distance of some interesting tech. But one of the things that I want to focus on is that if I miss out on terminal egress, and like I'm pushing really hard, like I want the biggest gun to shoot the Grey Tempest with or something like that, I can always fall back on bullying my neighbors and trying to either turn them into a subsidiary or, just getting some claims on them through other means. Like, there's other options that I have on the table. So that's why I'm trying to keep a little disciplined in terms of what's going on here. Even for things like the habitat, like I do want to expand the habitats, but clearly I don't have the alloys to do that right now. I need to get off of the war footing to be able to really reinvest in the bases. And there's actually a whole set of habitats that I'd prefer to build that are a little more science focused. But there's a lot of things that I need to set right before I can really start focusing hard on some of the more civilian sides of things. So, like I said, it's a tough situation that I'm in, but I want to be very... Basically, I want to be very careful in terms of how I approach all of this, because there are some ways that I can keep myself from falling into traps, and that's going to be one of the ways that I see myself through the winter of our discontent. Okay.
Wow, we really hit this tech out of the ballpark.
That's probably the cruiser upgrade, so I need 14 more Corvettes. Establishing new standards in the modeling and construction of cruisers greatly improves the efficiency of the production pipeline. So, probably the alloy. I mean, the advanced afterburners are low tech after I factor in the research cost, but well, actually, in this case, it serves me a little bit better. So yes, we will do advanced afterburners, especially because those are something that I would like to have on my ships if I can. Is there a way we can expand either of these bases? Nope. The Lox Ungrak Va Royal states, the galaxy is not your personal garbage disposal unit, Natraxian rum runners. Keep your so-called products to yourselves. So, I mean, they're getting a little mouthy. I guess that's because they think themselves equivalent to our fleets, but I know I've got I've got a greater ability to expand than they do, so I'm not going to use it as an opportunity to beat them up. But
resource scan complete.
We will remember that. Okay. Also, why? Well, I guess I know. Oh, no, they're working on the debris right now. Okay. I probably messed it up, though. I don't think they're going to get there in time. It's 184 days. It's going to take them... Well, we'll find out, I suppose. Sorry. Again, I'm getting distracted all the time. When in doubt, build more Corvettes, I suppose. We're getting close to our limit on the food, so we're going to sell another 50. I mean, we're driving the price down to a ridiculous level, but that's life, right? Currently, I'm buying 10... I guess the question I have is, why only 10? Whoa! Okay. Let's pull back on the gas a little bit. Ruined worlds. The ISS Arid Fic crew have reported the presence of decaying orbital stations and multiple tomb worlds near the Subterraneous system. Whatever interstellar nation once inhabited the Subterraneous system appears to have collapsed into ruin long ago. Silent Colony is a junkyard of a planet, covered in the irradiated, rusting remnants of demolished buildings, infrastructure, and vehicles. No higher forms of life are currently recognizable. We might gain more insight into this lost civilization by surveying any similar planets in this and neighboring systems. And then there was the dimensional portal. I should actually have gotten on that earlier. So what are we researching with physics right now? I think I can live without the hyperdrive for a little bit longer. So we will go back to situation log, 2 months. I do eventually want to put an envoy on all those other species, but again, priorities. Okay, that's a little bit more of a balance I can handle.
Research complete. We did it.
A dimension of suffering. The dimensional portal on Zygar Prime seems to lead to a realm which is opposed to the sapient mind on a fundamental level. Any and all contact with material from this dimension causes intense suffering in the subject, which, if continued for more than a few minutes, leads to intense suicidal urges coupled with attempts to mutilate their sensory organs. Even simply studying data recorded in this strange dimension causes intense discomfort in the biological observer and cascading errors in computer systems. Study the portal. We're gangsters. Of course, this is like a perfect interrogation dimension. I have my doubts as to how effective this is going to be, but... Nope, Sluria has unemployment. So Zygar is the one... Oh, apparently Zandaban is also... Oh, is Zandaban the mining world? Nope. Zygar is the mining world. All right. Well, it's a factory world, so get them to fact.
Resource scan complete.
Okay, that's 5 more Corvettes on the way. We're getting close to the limit, so I have 3 more for my existing fleet, and then we can start working on the 3rd.
Imagine the profit margins on this tech.
As we journeyed into the cosmos and ventured beyond our home system, we also entered a new era of economics. New markets are appearing at a startling rate, and economic theorists are struggling to keep up. So if I follow my usual pattern, executive retreat's the next one up, putting basically a boost to amenities and trade value, which actually probably wouldn't be a bad option for Zygar, but we'll see whether or not we follow through.
Resource scan complete. Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
Okay, so those are the Corvettes accounted for. That's 1 fleet done. So all in all, we made pretty good time on that. The next one's definitely going to take a while to build, so that's 4 battleships, 7 cruisers, 13 destroyers, and 24 Corvettes, which are due for construction at some point. I believe just battleships cost over 1,000 now, so it's going to take me a while to get to that level, but we currently have time.
Boom! I found something!
Ruinous core on the Baldirk system. Our initial survey of the ruinous core suggests this planet is the fallen capital of a lost empire whose junkyards we have encountered prior. A more thorough investigation may yield further information. Curious how we rank. We are still in breach of galactic law. Less than half of the naval capacity. Oh, okay. No, we're definitely above half then. This is a tricky one. Empires that have been denounced or in breach of galactic law have penalties applied. So I'm going to oppose this for now, and this is because I'm not currently on the council, and it's definitely looking like it's going to take quite a bit of effort for me to get in there. So normally I would like to normally what I would like to do is sort of accumulate more power as a member of the council, but because it's going to take me a while, I think it's probably better for me to be a little more cautious. Okay. Just waiting on the battleship. Again, I need 4 of those. I can, with the money that I'm making, actually what I'll do is I will... Ooh, that's a really good price. Should probably up the monthly amount on that, if I'm totally honest. It's probably more than I want to spend, but I'm really short on rare crystals. Oh, it's because they're too expensive. That was my stockpile. 128's not too bad. But I do, again, need to keep an eye on this stuff. Wow, I really wasn't paying attention to Stillhaven. Okay, well, we definitely need to keep the pressure on for the crime. So one thing I could do would be to put the disinformation center in. That's definitely a high crime generator. What else does it get me, though? I'm not quite sure what the question mark is, to be honest. Oh, maximum infiltration level. Yeah, the thing is that I actually prefer the concealed drug labs here because I am trying to work on my civilian industries, so... they're definitely trying to close this. Well, that or just the... It might be some other factors going on. But yeah, I want to keep an eye on that situation. Okay. Now, there's another dilemma here, which is how do I get this last building slot? Right now, there's not a whole lot for me to do with this world. And that's fine, because really, like, the only other thing that I could try here would be to remove the robot assembly plants. It's not like I need more laborers. Yeah, these are good scientists, so we'll keep breeding them there. Wow, the robots are the researchers? Huh. So I guess the question is, what am I moving out? Okay, so basically any place with scientists, or that needs scientists. Oh. Okay, we're going to have to pay up for minerals. Where'd it go? I think we'll stick him on Zygar, though. Ruined capital. As per the ISS Irid-Fix crew's initial suspicions, the ruinous core appears to be the fallen capital of the spacefaring society whose former colonies are now but irradiated scrap heaps on inhospitable tomb worlds. From the data the team has gathered, the downfall of this lost civilization was almost certainly the result of interstellar warfare waged against some unknown external threat. It remains unclear whether the planet's owners repelled the invasion but succumbed to the post-war fallout of a Pyrrhic victory, or if the invaders crushed these colonies and their inhabitants before moving on. As the extreme state of ruin on the planet precludes the extraction of data from any remaining electronics, and neither the capital nor its colonies possess any survivors, it seems that we may never know for certain. Alright. Oh, that's not good. I need to keep my science ships busy. Why do I have 3 construction ships? I'm sure I had good reasons at the time, I just don't know what they were. Okay. 2 battleships on the way. We get the joy of doing this all over again. And apparently there's a new measure, natural sanctuaries. We should preserve natural spaces as parks where citizens can escape their troubles. Minor restrictions, heavy industry are required, but it's a low price to pay. Again, it's a little funny that I want my diplomatic weight from economy to go down. Well... Yeah, the funny thing is everybody else seems to have a pretty strong economy, so supporting this helps me both on the consumer goods side, but also my also to sort of keep down some of my opponents. And it's the Nar consciousness supporting it, so they have quite a bit of weight. This improved version of the standard afterburners provides an even greater boost to ships' combat speed. Alright, city district housing +1, not quite what I need, but again, it's inexpensive, so we run with it. Always curious how we rank up compared to our rival. I'm glad it's been quiet, but we never know what's coming out on the other end of that thing.
Resource scan complete.
All right, one more battleship, then we get to move on to cruisers. I know I was talking about this before, but I've been reading the Distant Worlds manual lately.
Prospect analyzed. Imagine the profit margins.
It's definitely one I want to try for myself. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do it on stream. A new generation of hyperdrives capable of accessing the subspace slipstreams that are present within hyperspace. This leads to dramatically improved drive performance. Oh, actually, here's another question for you. Again, assuming you want to participate, please don't feel compelled to respond to my nonsense. I've been looking up the role-playing game Traveler. Has anybody heard of this thing? It's an old one, apparently. I'm going to feel bad saying that when somebody's like, oh yeah, I played it when it first came out. Try and get those exotic gases back.
Wow, we really hit this
should always set a limit.
Ballpark.
You know what? I think I just need to adapt to the new reality. A luxurious resort complex for high-ranking corporate officers. Here they can sample the local planetary culture in a high-security environment. We're a criminal gang. Everything's a high-security environment. Let's do to world habitability.
Prospect analyzed.
Still falling behind, huh? Oh, yeah, there we go. So getting a little close to my comfort zone so far as the energy is concerned, but when I build the Starbase and Zygar, which I probably should be considering relatively soon. Okay, battleship's taken care of. We'll probably get a bit of a shot in the arm as far as cash is concerned. All right, how many cruisers do we need? 6 more. 5 more. Probably should also keep on top of the industry. Custodian Protocol 6251 activated. Message follows. Attention, organic civilization. Widespread biological vulnerabilities have been detected in the Raxaran population. In order to ensure your species' viability for the Custodian project, all major population centers will require inoculation. Bioinjection units are prepared for dispatch to your space upon positive confirmation to this message. Awaiting response. So we could say, very well, it's for our own good. This will have the unpredictable repercussions. Until those repercussions are revealed, our pop's happiness will be reduced. The Kelbrid continuum may react positively to our acceptance, or we do not trust these inoculations. Nah, it's for our own good. Give me that sweet robot vaccine.
Resource scan complete.
This pushed us into a deficit there. I'll let it run for a little while. We'll see if we can make it up. Okay, so one of my big questions are, on worlds like this, is there a better way for me to handle food and such? So it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for me to add hydroponics farms. In fact, an exotic gas refinery is probably not a bad idea. We'll give him an administrative office too. I may rework that site at some point. Okay, I think I still put, yep. I put, okay, well normally I put strongholds. Do I want to do that here? Because I was definitely thinking that so a corporate culture site probably makes a little more, oh hang on. Yeah, no, corporate culture site makes sense. And then when we run out of spaces, we'll just replace the gene clinics with a fortress. Okay, 14 and 29. All right. Ooh, okay. Stillhaven's going to get closed down soon, I think. Yeah. Unless I want to, like, really push it on my...
Prospect analyzed.
I think we just need to accept that the Enlightened Kingdom got their act together, and we'll have to, Weird. Oh, it's probably because of the... Alright. That's a shame. I'm going to prepare sleeper cells because this is taking longer than I wanted. With directional gravity technology, buildings on the surface of planets can reach higher than ever before without risking structural collapse. The sky is the limit. Okay, again, engineering. Neutronium material? Nope. Looks like the robots win.
Technology acquired.
And we've got 2 world habitability, not that we're really going to use it. Sorry, just a second, making my notes. For cruisers. Through comprehensive study of irradiated environments, we will allow our settlers to colonize worlds that have been devastated by nuclear warfare. All right, let's go for... I mean, selected lineages is, yeah, pretty tempting just because of my my leaders are going to kind of be a way that I can navigate my difficulties. I'm also curious, I think with the leftover alloys I have, I can at least start an upgrade on the starport. We may not be able to turn it into a citadel, but that seems like a pretty small price to at least get some more credits in the bank. A surprise catch. Our spy master watching over the Enlightened Kingdom of Conaramis reports the surprise successful acquisition of a new asset. A sympathetic contact who will be of service to our operations as and when we need them. All efforts have been taken to ensure that this new contact is genuine. Protocols have been established which seek to minimize the risk of potential double agents, for example. Okay, that gives me a little bit more... access in the Enlightened Kingdom. Still, we're losing ground here, and I'm upset. All right, Nadal is right. So Nadal is basically just feeding the rest of these worlds now, but I'm okay with that because I do want more scientists working in the region. I can see why I built defenses here. Or actually, you know what? Probably the enemy built defenses. Oh, operative defects. Our spy master in the Enlightened Kingdom of Conaramis, Toxidol, reports a drastic failure in her process for screening operatives. Word from the Conarima capital is that an informant has chosen to defect. Despite the fact that we are supposed to be able to screen out such disloyalty, the informant has been turned, either by an act of counter-espionage or some innate sympathy towards the enlightened kingdom of Conaramis, which we were unable to detect before. So be it, we lose a little bit of influence. Get your house in order, Toxidol. Disavow. We'll say... Get your house in order. I'm not actually in any rush. And we are full up on food. I'll sell 5,000 for starters. I need to figure out a better system though. Okay, so by my read, we only need 2 more cruisers after this.
Prospect analyzed. Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
And again, we got to see how quickly I can build everything when it comes down to the destroyers and corvettes. So things are starting to look up as far as our fleet's concerned. Okay, so the Tecarus Link just declared these guys their rival. That makes me very happy. Again, I want to get my fleet up.
Let it go to voicemail.
And the Tecarus Link would like a non-aggression pact. I definitely want that. So, greetings, Raxar. The Tecarus Link formally requests the introduction of a non-aggression pact with the Natraxian Rum Runners in order to improve mutual security. I don't think they're going to want to do a research agreement with us, but... I think once I get to the destroyer and corvette period, I'm going to start upgrading some of my units, and the Loxongrak have returned the favor. Okay. So I'm going to start with the Kotala Void Stalkers for an upgrade. And that'll just kind of be as needed. That's probably going to be eating up my alloys for a while, but... Oh.
Resource scan complete.
Prepare sleeper cells. Our operatives are drawing up a short list of potential sleeper cells within the enlightened kingdom of Conaramis. They hope to find a set of suitable positions where agents may appear innocuous and yet remain poised to strike for a prolonged period of time. Okay. Also, with the Nar... Good God. You know what? Let's just prepare sleeper cells. This is not working for me. So we'll put the labor drone in there for now. I think I need my operatives doing things that are a little more useful for me right now, but clearly I need to invest in the code breaking because we do not have an edge for that anymore.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete. Prospect analyzed.
Let's try and move these up the queue.
Prospect analyzed.
We have to give back some of that those energy credits from the and buy back some more consumer goods.
Technology acquired.
Careful reproductive planning should be incentivized, lest we waste valuable genetic
Resource
legacies.
scan complete.
Okay, and ecological adaptations probably in the next one. Yep. Again, just raising the floor of my
Technology discovered.
understanding.
Rad.
Okay, there's a lot that happened there. Safe Harbor are the... Yep, the Grey Tempest is... Oh, they've cut the Enlightened Kingdom in half. That's good news for me. And again, I'm getting back on my feet as far as my Navy's concerned, so that is very good news. Let's keep focused on productivity. I mean, it is an industrial world, so it's not exclusively consumer goods, which apparently I can't find in the list. Am I just not allowed to build them anymore? Alloy Foundry we've got... Oh, we can only build one at a time, I guess. Let me just double check. Okay. So I've got Vault of Acquisitions, Crystals, Stronghold, Resource Silo, Research Lab, Research Institute, Precinct House, Planetary Shield Generator, Ministry of Culture. Can't use mineral purification plants because I'm not using the minerals right now. Military Academy, Luxury Residences, Hydroponics Farms for food, Hollow Theater for actually growth, the way my species works. Food processing facilities for food, exotic gas refineries to turn minerals into exotic gas, corporate culture to boost my unity, commercial zones for trade, chemical plants. Huh. I did not appreciate that you can only build one of each kind. It's definitely going to change the way that I approach worlds. But I'm not opposed to having a bit more diversity in my production here anyway. The factory world, on the other hand, I actually kind of was banking on being able to double down on civilian works. So, what else do I want to do? Theoretically, what I could do would be a Ministry of Culture and some... so we did a Ministry of Culture and a corporate site. I could probably get 3 administrative offices out of it, but I wouldn't... Like, that wouldn't be a dedicated planet to that. Would that be so bad? We'll do Ministry of Production first, and then we'll replace the gene clinics. Okay, we got more jobs than we know what to do with here, so... Although I might double down on the minerals. What I need to build is a robot assembly plant here. Nope, I'm out of money. Okay, well that was not a bad use of the resources. 3 dimensions inextricable from the 4th. Space-time theory. Okay, I have a preference for tachyon sensors, particularly because of the just the eyes that it gives me into the danger zones. So I think that's going to be what I go for. And then cross-model standardization. Improved production practices allow for greater alterations to synthetic workers without compromising core functionality. So I'd love to build a citadel, but again I'm focusing on the less costly, so civilian replicomplexes it is. On we go. And I think I should just admit that I'm not quite ready to stand on my own 2 feet consumer goods wise.
We really push the envelope on these ships.
Okay. Tempest Shoal. Holy smokes, they're already in my territory, and they completely ignored the defensive station. That's scary as hell. I did not appreciate that they could do that. Oh.
Station under attack.
So we're almost certainly going to lose this.
Mining station lost. Starbase lost.
Yeah, no good. They're not even close to an L cluster. Well, they're kind of close.
Prospect analyzed.
Like I said, 10 destroyers for this. I'm also almost certainly going to have to get some replacements for what I lose here, but... Obviously, one moves faster than the other. A list of targets has been finalized, and our operatives have been quietly drifting in their way into position. They await our signal to begin establishing sleeper cells. In the meantime, I do need to work on a trade hub and a hangar bay. Obviously, I do want to be putting that money into my military, but... Oh, sleeper cells established. Oh. Reports from Operation Prepare Sleeper Cells are favorable so far. After many false protestations of fealty, not to mention a plethora of fake background checks, our operatives have settled into bureaucratic positions from within the governing structure of the ruling party. From there, they may be able to update us on the latest happenings in the enlightened kingdom of Conoramus and maintain our long-term ability to conduct operations there should we wish it. So for a 15-year modifier versus 30, and I can destroy the Economist, but no, we will just go for the 15 years. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to work on, oh god, they're up to challenging. Jesus. Okay, this one I do actually need the intel on the enemy, so we're gonna have to work hard on this. But after we're done with the NAR, I'm going to work on grabbing grabbing all of those first contacts. I think that should be good for a little extra unity for me. Okay, Zygar 6. You know what? We're just gonna throw you on the mining world. Oh, no, that's no good. Kefroth needs scientists, right? No. Have I maxed out my... That's bananas if I have. Okay. I'm just going to take a quick second here. So we've got 10-4-9-6-9-6. By comparison, the slave scientists... Yeah, no, they're not better. Okay, well, that's going to have some implications for the species that I grow. Resilience, nice. Do I have anything that's strong? Yeah, so I'm gonna actually move one of the Azazians to Zygar. I will make a replacement. So yeah, this is definitely the species that I want working my mines. I probably should have planned that a little bit better and earlier. Okay, back to the fun stuff. And Unity. All right, so I think we were going to do workplace motivators for the boost to my production, and then we were going to go down the other path. So there are many ways to motivate those who perform menial labor to work harder, some based on incentives, and some not.
Engaging hostile.
Surprise! That was quick. Okay, so one of these has already been upgraded. Only one more. I think we're down to 9 destroyers. So the next important thing is to repair what we lost. Now I am going to need to upgrade that Starbase, which is going to also have some implications as far as my alloys are concerned. And then we also want that science ship working on the ruins. Governing ethics shifts in the Elemine concern. Following a long period of growing support for the Xeno Justice Initiative, the Elemenid concern has finally embraced the faction, adopting their core values and policies. And what got passed? Moderate administrative sanctions. So yeah, I didn't want that, but it was clear that was going to pass. It's very hard to see measures that give the council more power being defeated by the council. Our operatives are drawing up a short list of potential sleeper cells within the Narc consciousness. They hope to find a suitable, set of suitable positions where agents may appear innocuous and yet remain poised to strike for a prolonged period of time. And I'm not ready to use any of these.
Prospect analyzed.
Negotiations are underway for appointing a new boss. So if I want, I can spend Unity. Definitely prefer spending Unity than Influence.
Prospect analyzed.
Lots of leader experience gain and 1 fleet expansion. So I think I'm just going to abstain and accept my fate. Doorbacks. Okay, the shipbuilder. To my surprise and delight. I thought I was going to build the unification center here. Apparently I'm not. The agreement we signed giving you access to our databanks has run its course. Would you like to extend it for another 10 standard years, or do your researchers no longer require the information we offer? We will definitely extend the deal, but again, we're running short on cash. Although we're doing good on minerals again, so could be worse, I suppose.
Construction complete.
Okay, one on mining. We'll get another one on research because I want this thing up and running as soon as possible, and we are going to upgrade the starbase immediately. In an ideal world, I'd be like really hardening all of my wormholes, but again, I need to kind of consider the reality of my position. Having a mobile means of defense is definitely better than these fixed ones in the forms of the starbases. And we're getting really close to our third fleet, so by adapting planetary ecosystems to large-scale environmental changes, we can turn terraformation into a less disruptive process. Okay, we'll do Resort World. The extra fleet command limit will be nice, but I'm not quite in a position for that. Civilian replicomplexes, these kiosks can replicate any pre-approved object if its pattern has been stored within their memory banks. Looks like we're going for alloys next. As always, I want a quick peek. So they count as equivalent. Now, I remember once upon a time, we could just, like, kick these guys around with 3 full fleets. So that makes me wonder what happened. But we won't worry about that quite yet. Actually, what I will worry about is the dump truck of alloys I've got sitting in my empire that I'm not using. So I think I said 9 destroyers last. We've got 9 now, but I only want 13, so I wasn't keeping track. So 4 of these. And then how many corvettes? 24? Okay. So 15 corvettes when all is said and done. So I thought that was the Zakarian black hole. I was about to go nuts. Okay, 7. 8 more to go. And then the upgrades.
Technology discovered. Rad.
Advanced sensors that rely on rotating tachyon beams to detect ship movements even at extreme distances. So everybody's got to get upgraded for that.
Boom. We built something.
Quite a bit of... There's quite a few opportunities here. Let's do the 0-point reactor. Again, that's going to involve another suite of upgrades, but
Construction
there's no
complete.
escaping it, right? Got all that piracy.
Resource scan complete.
There's going to be a couple ways of dealing with that, but... see how many I'm building. You know what? It's impossible to keep track of these things. I've got 3 more coming online. We're at 18 now. A list of targets has been finalized, and our operatives have been quietly drifting their way into position. They await our signal to begin establishing sleeper cells. Commence the operation. And Federation invitation, so the Miravendia Imperial Sons have joined the Cosmic Treaty Organization. I actually already thought they were a member. So that's going to mean a little bit of difficulty for me trying to take them apart. Let's not worry about that right now. Not quite ready to upgrade, but I'll worry about that later. So we've got 20 right now. We're building no more Corvettes, so... Okay, so we're up to 22 out of 24. And then upgrades and whatnot. But effectively, we're ready to go in terms of the plan to take terminal egress. In terms of just the material that we need. And we'll say excellent to that. And again, this is not my favorite use of my cells, but like, again, we're just dealing with so much encryption here. Sorry, not my favorite use of envoys. But I think the time has come for me to actually work through these different aliens. So go to first contact. And we'll start by working on the Heth aliens. Confidence wavers. A group of auxiliary operatives in the Loxon-Grakva Royal States have begun shying away from their assigned tasks, citing a lack of confidence in their overall purpose. Spymaster Toxidol would typically handle such matters without bringing them to our attention, but even without them knowing any details, these operatives seem unusually well informed about Operation Acquire Asset, and perhaps the spy network as a whole. Given that these auxiliaries are kept isolated from more active and better informed agents, Toxidol suspects that the operatives are being fed information from an outside source. She also concedes that they may be simply highly perceptive individuals. Given these doubts and the threats posed to Operation Acquire Asset by each scenario, Spymaster Toxidol requests a directive on how to proceed. Now, I've tried to study this one a couple of times, and I've always sort of not given myself enough information. So, cut them loose. I'm going to write down all of the effects. Sorry, all the stated effects. So, minus 600 credits, which, you know, chump change. 12 months of +2 difficulty. Let's see where these insights lead. 50-50 chance of unwavering insight or panicked operatives. Our branch in Stillhaven, inside the enlightened kingdom of Conoramus, was recently forced to close after mass arrests were made by the local authorities. It seems that the recent reduction in crime on the planet enabled their law enforcement agencies to focus their efforts on disrupting our operations. So I kind of knew that was coming. It's still sad that it happened, though. And apparently I can't... I'm still not sure if this is related to my relationship with them or just the fact that I can't see into their worlds, but either way it makes me sad. Those should be the last 2 Corvettes we need. That's going to sting financially, but what am I going to do, right? Unwavering insight. All right. Our auxiliary operatives in the Loxon-Grakva Royal States have applied themselves with unusual fervor upon learning that their once intangible suspicions were founded on in a real cause after all. Spymaster Toxidol maintains a strict information quarantine, but reports that her supply lines have never been smoother. Okay, so the good is -1 difficulty for 3 years. I was kind of expecting it to not work. So I guess I'm going to need to wait to see what the consequences.
War can be a lucrative affair.
Okay, Neutronium physics research, society research, engineering research. All good news. Let's see if I can upgrade anything. Still upgrading to a Starhold. Tecorus Link have made a protective... Oh, all right.
Planetary exploitation forecast
So
complete.
I am not taking them over at anytime soon. It's actually worth mentioning, so I haven't looked too much in terms of the forthcoming DLC, but it seems like one of the plans for Overlord, which is the forthcoming DLC, is to try and make like vassalization something more interesting for a player. So I can remember one of my earlier games in multiplayer, I wound up sort of vassalizing. It was a human player, but like I kind of gave them the offer that they can't refuse. And I says like, well, you know, I'm fine not attacking you, but I would like there to be something more formal, something that will ensure that you are not in a position to go to war with me. And so I expect you to be a vassal. And they're like, oh, okay, fine. But what neither of us knew at the time was that basically it stops you from being able to do anything. Like you can't colonize, basically it's over. You're basically sitting there waiting for someone to incorporate you. And I think that's one of the problems that they're trying to solve with that DLC. Now, you know, my own feeling on this is that, you know, not that I want to get to. Oh God, I should have said this at the start too. I was given a key to Stellaris from. Sorry, you can tell the ones where I have a rush start. I was given a key to this game by Paradox. That includes Stellaris, the base game, as well as all of the DLC that I'm playing, with the exception of humanoids and plantoids, which I did buy on my own. But the reason it's important to mention that, and it's, you know, I usually want to do that off the top of the broadcast, but I can't go back in time. But because I'm talking about DLC stuff, and I mean, I know seeing someone stream it can be seen as an endorsement. And obviously, this game's a few years old now, so kind of there's a statute of limitations, I like to think. But especially when I start talking about like value and, you know, potentially buying stuff, it's probably not a bad time for me to, you know, admit that interest. So if you think this is going to alter my view on these things, you know, now consider yourself informed. So as far as the DLC is concerned, it does feel that the different games... Oh yeah, so I haven't done Feudal Society Revan, but yeah, that's actually really interesting that they make that a perk that you can get. Because obviously the way that it affects the player is, like, if I'm the player getting vassalized, that sucks for me. So to a certain extent, it's whether or not your overlord has chosen that perk that makes that... Yeah, that is a strange. It's definitely interesting, but that's such a strange way of doing it because, of course, the pain is felt by the other party. But yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about DLC because I do play other Paradox games, though more so in my own time now. And I can remember, I think it was Mandate of Heaven for Europa Universalis. And I think in Mandate of Heaven, it introduced a very helpful sort of like high-level tool to sort of help you just sort through different, you know, potential allies or like confederations or whatever. Like basically, instead of polling each individual political entity in your, you know, in your immediate area, it would sort of give you an idea of how close you were to those relationships. If any of you are Total War fans, you'll know that Troy added something like this. It might have been in an earlier game, but the first one I noticed it in was Troy, where you have like the quick deal menu, and it'll tell you like who's willing to do the deal, or how far off from a given deal they are. So like if you needed to just throw in a little extra food to, you know, to make that alliance happen, you're not spending all day just like sorting out the different numbers. So not that anybody asked, my opinion on this thing is that these kinds of improvements I prefer to see in the free patches, because what they're really about is making the game just more enjoyable to play. They're a convenience. It's basically around like not making it a drag to do certain things. the case of Mandate of Heaven, this is actually one of the things that was locked behind buying the DLC, and it's why I feel some of the complaints about the latest Europa Universalis DLC, quality considerations aside, like, to me, I kind of think that people have a bit of a point on this stuff, because if the value proposition has been that we're going to make it inconvenient to play this game if you don't own the DLC, you know, you're kind of wondering, like, whether or not the intentions are in the right spot, right? I'm definitely not someone who thinks that these companies should not be making money off of their games. Obviously, Paradox has got a business model where they have a very long, kind of very long tail to their games, and that is because, you know, they keep supporting it through DLC, and, you know, the people who are willing to buy it are effectively kind of subsidizing for those who don't. And I'm, of course, saying this as someone who's been very lucky to get quite a bit of the DLC for this game, Stellaris, from the developer. And so, obviously, this is why I take the time to communicate those differences. Generally, I kind of feel like Stellaris has actually hit the right balance. Like, you can enjoy Stellaris without all of the story events, but Stellaris is clearly so much better with a huge variety of story events, because you kind of feel like anything could happen while you go out and play the game. And, you know, if you want to build a Death Star, you know, well, okay, you're going to have to pay up for that now. But you are still able to sort of have that fantasy that you want inside of Stellaris. And so to me, I am a little curious in terms of how Overlord is going to handle this, because to me, you know, making the possibility of becoming a vassal is very much tied to, like, just making the game better overall. You know, it's a little bit like the way that they like the changes that they brought in with Megacorps. And I think it was also Apocalypse. Just the way that they handled production, and then the complete change in terms of how, you know, essentially eliminating two forms of warp drive in favor of, you know, making it a little bit more interesting as far as battles were concerned. Those are things that were given to everyone. But on the other hand, right, like, Overlord is in the title, and you can just as easily make the argument that it is sort of one of these headline features that you are supposed to pay up for. And we'll see. I mean, obviously, it's kind of Paradox's job to convince us that the thing that we are getting is worth paying the money for. Whether or not something should be part of the free update is sometimes beside the point. You know, I don't go to the fish and chip shop and tell them, it's like, oh, no, it's you know, that's worth half that. You know, I'm not paying all that. But yeah, we'll see. It's generally, I actually kind of like the way that Stellaris has been treated DLC wise. So I'm hopeful. Okay, so I just need a second to remember. Right, we were doing some energy generation, so I would prefer to have the Azazians on the mining world. I can obviously relocate everyone later, but let's try and come up with a better division. Anyway, sorry, it's just the Tecarus vassalized, or well, offered protectorate status to the other megacorp. The Heth aliens. All of these are so old. Signs of barbarism. Oh! Interesting. Although their dwellings on habitat stations would suggest an advanced society, Envoy Daclinex is unsure whether we are indeed dealing with an intelligent life form. They seem unremittingly hostile, so much so that a stable society seems almost unthinkable. Even during our brief period of investigation, we have observed several displays of pure barbarism. They seem to have a language, but our linguists are still working on deciphering it so that we can make sense of this display. Disturbing. We must be watchful. Alright. It's clear I don't understand this galaxy very well. I'm going to take another quick second here and just see what improvements I can make on the stations. Probably not much. Yeah, we're upgrading to a star hold.
Discovered. Rad.
Subra's not the Shorax.
Technology discovered.
Okay,
Rad.
do the upgrade. Nope. Okay, I missed the previous one, but we've got create resort world with careful study devoted to landscaping, climate control, and the science of fun. Construction of entire worlds dedicated to leisure can be made possible. Something I'd like to do, but we're really short on planets. Okay, habitability modification or... No, system capital complex. That's going to help me across several measures. And engineering... I always want those citadels, but I did say I was going to be raising the floor. So neutronium materials will both help me with the fight, and I've got quite a bit of progress on them already. Really need to get our energy credits back in line. Okay, so I'm sitting on a bunch of alloys. Where are we with my ships? Okay, let's get our upgrades in. Against my better judgment, we're going to start building the outpost.
Resource scan complete.
So obviously, like, we need to hurry up on the upgrades here, but...
We really push the envelope on these ships.
Okay. This at least gets us a start on our
Resource
defenses.
scan complete.
The Cevante Free Warriors are encountered. Having decoded what counts as a language among them, Envoy Daklinex has identified the Heth Aliens as a nomadic civilization known as the Cevante Free Warriors. They occupy a number of large space stations and in and around the Canopus system that house the bulk of their massive numbers in crowded and squalid conditions. Despite this, or perhaps because of it, they seem to have developed a strong martial culture. Life in the Cold Void has become second nature to them, and they are very adept at space warfare. There's no Cevante central government to speak of. Instead, they are divided into several different factions that vie endlessly with one another for resources and respect. Given their large population and the shipbuilding capability of their stations, this constant infighting is the only thing keeping them from growing into a significant threat to galactic peace.
Customer base expanded.
Alright, so I was wondering where these guys were. Outsiders, we are the Cevante. Unlike the civilized star nations of the galaxy, we have no single master to lord over us. But I have been chosen to convey this message to you on behalf of all the houses. Do not try to impose your soft and effete ways upon us. You may freely send your alien ships to the Cevante territory, but do not expect them to return. Our warriors will welcome the diversion, however. Transmit on this frequency only if you wish to offer tribute, or have need of mercenaries, as well as the means to pay for them. Alright, where are they? I can't remember if it tells me what I get for... I mean, I could only pay them in food, but as punishment for losing a duel, it has been decreed that I am to deal with all outsiders this cycle. What do you want? Ah, great. Okay. It's a lot of cash, though. Cevante mercenaries are the finest in the entire galaxy. Do not let their rowdy nature deceive you. When battle is joined, their discipline is second to none. Their honor would even compel them to fight against other Cevante, should you wish it. These are the fleets that are currently available for hire. I'd like to, but I'm not quite... There was a time where I would have had enough money for this, but let's think a little bit about where we're at. Okay, so let's cancel this exotic gases order. I need to keep the rare crystals. Shockingly, we still need more consumer goods. But alloys are nice to have. Oh god, but they're so cheap. Yeah, no, we gotta keep with it. Whoa. Alright, we'll live with this for now. It doesn't have to be forever like this. Okay, on to the Kappa Aliens. We made first contact with mysterious aliens in the Light's End system. For now, we have codenamed them Kappa Aliens until we can find out more about them. If they possess a language, we should decipher it so that we can assess how much of a threat they pose. So we're going to get the envoy back to spying as soon as we can, but I do want to clear out my log for first contact. We've been ignoring that for a while now. So obviously this is a bit of a risk. Anything could be coming out that L-gate, but... Oh. Elemented has ended our treaty. Okay. Ah, yes. Okay. We have got a dump truck of credits to play with now. Oh. It's a very optimistic price.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
I'll buy more.
Ship status cutting edge.
Okay, so that's the third that we're on our way to. So I am going to start building more. Ships. I don't necessarily mind going over the naval capacity, but this is kind of my core fleet, and I suspect, yeah, we don't count as outdoing them anymore. So I'm definitely living in the past as far as my capabilities are concerned. So with that in mind, first things first. This is against my better judgment. I am going to use the fleet manager. It's like 4, 7, 13, and 24, yeah. Actually, there's one slight variation I'm going to do. We'll start by building a battleship so we can get a name, and then I'll assign other things to it. Living space debris. Envoy Daklanex is still waiting to confirm the hypothesis that the irregularity we had designated as Kappa Aliens is in fact a living organism. While it seems to be made up of a cluster of random stardust, it is demonstrably able to propel itself across the void and shows basic signs of independent agency. Our researchers are perplexed by this phenomena and are working hard to verify our readings. We must be missing something. Okay, so we are not going to mess around this time. Upgrade immediately. I'm not going to send anything through the L-gate yet. So even though I'm probably going to wind up dismantling this thing, I do want something that I can repair and rearm my ships at. I'm actually even thinking about building shipyards. Our spotters have begun ingratiating themselves with targets we've marked as potentially useful. And void clouds. An investigation into a peculiar cluster of debris and space dust previously dubbed Kappa Aliens has yielded surprising results. It is a particulate cloud bristling with a powerful charge of unknown origin that has no business exhibiting simple reflexive actions, alone movements with purpose, and yet it does. There is something undeniably ominous about the hazy subject of the relayed video feeds. Perhaps there are things in the universe we should not tangle with. Let us watch, but not interfere with it.
Customer base expanded.
Okay. We're getting through these pretty quickly, so... New aliens. We made first contact with mysterious aliens in the Verum system. For now, we've codenamed them Mu Aliens until we can find out more about them. If they possess a language, we should decipher it so that we can assess how much of a threat they pose. Now that's interesting. So the Nar consciousness just flew a fleet. I wonder where they're going. They probably came through the L-gate. This is Citizen Fantaga. The People's Revolutionary Council has unanimously voted to rename the planet formerly known as Baldorak to Fotangia in honor of my leadership. Also, the planet formerly known as New Baldorak shall henceforth be known as Chakvimak, after Chakvi Rad, our Minister of Public Safety. That is all. Oh my goodness, Chakvi grew up and became, became the head of the KGB. Interesting. I should probably get a science ship in the vicinity. We'll get the ships in place first. The order kind of matters on this stuff. I should have been paying attention. So on Kirox's private stash, we've got an unemployed lithoid. So normally I would have sent this to a science colony, but we don't have that much. Don't have that much in terms of science needs at the moment. So I really thought we would be getting more in terms of alloys, but I obviously neglected how much I was making off of these trades. Benign Inoculation. The inoculations given to us by the ancient caretakers have proven of immense benefit, reducing illness and increasing the life expectancy of our population. The initial mistrust among our people about the mandatory procedure has receded, and everyone is enjoying a happier, healthier life. So pop growth will help me along with the leader lifespan. Okay. We'll do the cloud study. I probably should have worked on that earlier.
Resource scan complete. Prospect analyzed.
We've discovered a new life form in Averum. Although calling it a life form may be incorrect, the entities appear to be fully automated, mechanical drones built exclusively for some unknown industrial purpose. Observations will continue, but since it's likely these machines are programmed with defensive protocols, it would be prudent to tread lightly. Keep looking, but use caution. Okay, almost got the fleet.
Research complete.
Void unclouded. The void clouds are, as far as Roxaran researchers can tell, among the oldest entities in the universe. They seem to have originated just a scant few billion years after matter as we know it first appeared, the tremendous forces of the young cosmos making something out of nothing. They would have been stars once, but were not. Explaining their apparent animal intelligence is more difficult, but the answer might lie in the abnormally strong electromagnetic fields that keep them together, another product of the primordial beginnings. It is not inconceivable that, given enough time, the circulation of its strange stardust and the gravitic fields aligned in a flexible approximation of neural pathways. Moreover, the clouds seem to be receiving impulses from one another, if not outright communicating, light years apart. Quantum entanglement is suspected to play a role in this phenomenon. So we could say they will not stand in our way, giving us bonus damage to void clouds, or we could say humbling, and this will give me physics. Now, I can see why this is very helpful earlier on, but I don't really have a whole lot to fear from void clouds right now, either in terms of just where they are relative to my empire, but also just given the strength of my fleets. So in this case here, the bonus to research seems to be the obvious step. And of course, as far as obvious steps, oh, new aliens. Right, we're still working on them. Crap. There was a curator order event, which I'm rather sorry I passed up.
Starbase under attack.
I knew it. Okay, we're almost certainly going to lose this one. So let everybody get into place. Okay, well, it gave him the slip. We've got another one in the immediate area.
Construction complete.
Okay, Zygar. So we've got what we needed from our trade hub. We're probably going to need to protect a lot of trade, but okay, looks like we can support that for now, so I'm going to leave that be just because we're going to need the alloys for other things. Shorax probably isn't ready to go yet. Nope. In fact, I probably should have checked. So I built a trade hub, but... oh yeah, it's taking care of Subra, so that's fine. Okay. So I want everyone to move as one here. Reports from the deep space drones previously encountered have been investigated closer. The drones appear to be workers and custodians of an autonomous orbital mining operation, established millennia ago and then soon abandoned by all but the drones themselves, judging by the state of the processing equipment. The drones possess powerful mining lasers and make obviously threatening, if not outright hostile overtures towards Raxaran vessels when approached. They may only be old drones, but they should be kept under close watch by the Neutraxian rum runners.
Customer base expanded.
Alright. So we'll do the drone study. These things don't take a whole lot. We're almost ready to go. So we've got the Sigma aliens. And then I can start using my envoys for what they were meant for. Spying. Oh. So I may cool it for a bit on the construction. And that's just to prepare for... so I probably should have used control click in that. I think it's like control click for 10. No, shift click for 10. But control click for the maximum number. Kill that one. Never too early to get someone on the ships. But yeah, so I want to use my alloys to establish these bases first before I go completely nuts with my alloys. But it's coming, don't worry. Upon entering Adrenal, our sensors picked up strange readings.
Research complete.
Dismissed at first as glorified asteroids, things quickly changed when it was discovered that these entities reacted aggressively to movement in space, even at great distance. Observation of these entities, preferably from a safe distance, is advised. Best viewed from afar, keep it up. And mining drone work ethic. The drones and their tireless, endless work of extracting ever-diminishing resources from their local planetoids make for a somewhat dull, but nevertheless informative subject of study, kind of like this stream. In fact, mining networks on Kerox's private stash could stand to learn a thing or two about maximizing mineral extraction rates while conserving energy. Additionally, we have found that the drones are not completely silent. They emit signal pings, though extremely infrequently, at a wavelength hard to isolate from background noise. If there's anyone left to receive these pings, may be a mystery for another time. So easy prey, bonus damage to the drones, or we can get better extraction. And again, I tend to prefer getting the bonus. Fascinating automata. So obviously we're not going through this gate yet. I want to establish presence in the system first, a more permanent one, that is. Baldorak public announcement that a citizen Fontanga The People's Revolutionary Council wishes to announce the impending execution of 4,539 individuals convicted of state treason and counter-revolutionary activities. Let this serve as a warning to all those who stand in the way of our glorious revolution. That is all. Interesting. A short list of targets has been drawn up. Those operatives who are no longer tasked with surveillance will provide cover for the others.
This tech had better generate some revenue.
0-point reactor. These generators extract vacuum energy, providing an almost limitless supply of ship power. There is no more efficient way to generate energy.
This
So,
tech had better
obviously,
generate some
I'm going to want to get
revenue.
some upgrades done, but we'll worry about it. Now, again, the particle lance is definitely something that I want to grab, but I am trying to raise the overall level of my tech. So, the administrative needs of a star empire are as numerous as they are complex. We will rise to the occasion. So we've got a new civic slot. I think that's going to cost Unity. But let's worry about our next steps. So, Xeno Relations. And finally, Neutronium Armor, so another upgrade. This incredibly dense and strong material can resist firepower that would turn armor made of other alloys into slag. Corps of Engineers is probably the next one coming up, so that's going to give me bonuses to Starbase upgrade, speed, and cost. Okay, let's see if we can afford a new Civic. So we've got Criminal Heritage and Corporate Hedonism right now, so Decadent Lifestyle, which gives us extra happiness in consumer goods, as well as population growth from entertainers. So I could get bonus unity for brand loyalty. Oh, food into alloys. That's actually very tempting. So franchising would be what I would normally want to pick. +1 consumer goods as well as trade value and... okay, yeah, Mastercraft Incorporated is almost certainly going to be where we go. Have to take our drug operations home. We actually, I don't think we have any more branches. They all got shot down. Okay, Mastercraft Incorporated, at least for now. That has a couple knock-on effects. So in addition to the extra research and all of that, the ability to knock down the consumer goods purchases that I'm making, although it's ridiculously inexpensive. I mean, maybe I should be willing to loosen up a little bit. The entities encountered by our fleet some time ago are spaceborne forms of life, quickly named Space Amoeba following a technician's gross misreading of initial sensor output. The creature is in fact larger than the average boy's Corvette. The creature displays aggressive behavior towards the boys' ships, but further study might be warranted. So, this is a little bit harder, right? Because with the amoeba, they're not all that threatening. The extra damage to the Space Amoeba, combined with the 1,000 credits that you get for each one you take down, can be a really nice benefit. In this case, we could do the study, and I don't recall exactly. I think you get the option of like the flagella. I think there's another thing that you get out of it. But in this case, we'll do fascinating creatures. Again, we're generally good at generating money,
Customer base expanded.
so we can always follow up. And finally, the Upsilon aliens. I don't expect it to be someone we can have a conversation with, but
Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
we'll see how it goes. Against my better judgment, I'll put the science ship in here. What the hell just happened? Help? Oh, I see what happened. What's the story here? This might require a little dancing around, but... Nope, nope. That worked. So we'll see what happens next turn with these numbers. Yeah, there we go. Thought so. So that's a bunch of extra cash that I just got. We'll give a little bit of that back in the form of alloy purchases. Okay, moving right along. We're still building the Starbase. Am I ready to bring this to a star fortress? I mean, I'm gonna have to do it sooner or later. I've currently got 4.5 that I'm sitting on. Yeah, 1250. And are we paying? I feel like I should just say hang the cost and like put a base in Lishval, because that would pretty much eliminate my piracy problems. I'm sure I will come to regret this.
Construction complete.
Okay, this is what we were saving those alloys for. So I feel a little bad about doing this because clearly the plan here has been to I want to get that fourth fleet up, but I also want to establish my position here. So I am going to send the construction ship in. I suspect it will almost instantly die. No. What on earth?
Research complete. We did it.
Oh man, I gotta research this as soon as possible. If we can get a free base here. This is the kind of thinking that got me in trouble last time. But I am gonna watch this like a hawk. Alright, Space Amoebas forever. The Space Amoebas, the name has stuck, as the pronunciation of the proper xenotaxonomic denominator is too unwieldy for the average Raxar, are solitary animals when left to their own devices. All but the youngest specimens are accompanied by quasi-independent flagella, organisms spawned by the amoeba and programmed through liquid RNA-laced secretions to do the bidding of the host. These flagella are capable of manipulating and even attacking objects in an impressive yet restricted range around the host, periodically returning to lodge inside the host amoeba's body for reprogramming. There are potential military applications to be found in the regenerative properties of the amoeba's thick hide, or in the flagella's graceful patterns of movement. So, bonus evasion. Obviously, I forgot what that was. Okay. Can't build anything yet. I moved the construction ship in there because it was expendable. The irregularity we had designated as the Upsilon aliens appear to be made of some sort of crystalline material. Curiously, it seems able to propel itself across the void and protect itself when necessary, indicating that it may be alive. Our researchers are working hard to find out more. Okay, we were expecting this.
Hostile fleet. Can we take them?
It's more than one.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
I want to see how they move. If we can avoid... Yep. I just want to protect my... I want to protect my stuff. I don't necessarily want to fight them. Our researchers have finished investigating the reports of extraordinary free-floating crystal-like objects observed in the Belazir system. Their findings are startling. The ship-size objects and their slightly smaller but equally crystal-like satellites at first appeared inert, but sudden shifts in their orientation relative to our ships and new energy signatures emerging from within the prisms indicate that they should be regarded as hazardous and approached with caution. We should even should we not find a martial use for them, studying a shattered crystal would no doubt yield interesting results. So, don't really need the minerals, but we are going to do fascinating creatures.
Customer base expanded.
And then we are going to do the crystalline study. And of course, we don't have anything else for our envoy to do, so I'm going to find the weakest link. The elemented concern have sort of already been Yeah, I'm actually running out of options. We could go back to the Conoramus. If I tried to peel off the Confederation of Zacho... Okay, this is easy prey, so... We'll start with the basics. Okay, so it says it's falling, but I don't see it falling. Yeah, so again, I don't want to provoke a fight if I don't have to. I do want to protect... Okay, so the fight has now come to us. That's fine. We can live with it. Oh.
Our science ship is under attack.
They're probably going to try and retreat. So yeah, again, if they're gonna mess with me, then I have to take them out. But okay, what did we lose? Cruiser, 2 Corvettes. Okay, cruiser and 5 Corvettes. So we're gonna build that stuff right away. I have had a day. Okay. Sorry, I'm clicking on all the wrong stuff. So upgrading that other fleet, not happening yet just because of where my alloys are currently at and how I'm going to be spending them. I definitely still want to be able to use this as backup. So essentially until I have a base up and running and I'm capable of defending it, all the alloys are going towards my establishing my
research complete. We did it.
What we're gonna do is, I guess I can't remember how escorting works. Crystalline entities are unbreakable. The crystalline entities, the name itself a compromise between rival factions of xenobiologists and xenogeologists on Kirox's private stash, are probably alive. An earlier and perhaps more descriptive name for them was silicate animate matter, as they have little in common with biological life. They are solitary beings, each individual crystal sovereign rarely seen with more than a sentinel and a smaller cohort entity. Aside from the cohort and the sentinel clearly being subservient to the sovereign of the group, the subtle nuances of the crystalline entities' socio-hierarchical relationships are lost on us. The entities do not seem to mate, and we have yet to observe any crystals that are recognizably older or younger than others. Contrary to an early hypothesis, the shifts in hue between individual crystalline entities seem to be related not to their age, but to their latent internal charge, which can be violently unleashed as it appears as if through sporadic fluctuations in this charge alter the refractive properties of the crystal. And we get extra energy credits, which makes me happy. Okay, so this is the really dangerous part, right? Where I've got a fleet which isn't really capable of repairing itself, trying to defend my science ship. So this is, again, just one of these spots where I need to make some judgment calls. We know there's at least one more fleet that's going to be running around, but as the science ship runs through the area, I can't afford to just hang out by the L gate. This is the drawback about wanting to try and take this.
Can we take them?
Okay. So we will definitely screen for this is one of the weaker ones, so we're probably in good shape. In fact, we should just go out and meet it because it's clearly coming to us. Ah, too late. All right. The alt-mites are... That apparently was one of mine. Oh, damn it. No, I see what happened. Yeah. Okay, we can get that back, though. The, my allies weren't on the ball. And we need another replacement Corvette. Actually, we've already built our replacement, so I should be... What are you doing? Lost all that progress. Okay. Everything but the battleship. I'll have to sort out exactly the ordering of things, but... Yeah, man, this Federation's growing... I'm definitely gonna have to start picking them apart. How I do that, though, is another question. Actually, we're doing a pretty good job of repairing ourselves in the middle of space, so lucky me. It's gonna get scary when we start analyzing sort of the outer planets, complete. But again, we gotta work with what we've been given. So what did I have Lishval doing? Oh, right, this was gonna protect my trade. So, first question, is there any trade? So there's a little bit over here. I would need to build, I believe, 2 trade hubs. I think the Off-World Trading Company just improves the value. Let me just double check that, though. Oh, there we go. Yeah, 2 trade value for each trade hub. Well, I mean, okay, so... 4, 8. It's not terrible. Let's start with the hangar bay. I hate that I'm doing this, but I'll put an anchorage down as well. I think I'm going to leave the rest for the time being. We're also getting close to the max influence, so I'm going to need to make some decisions about how I want to handle that. This is kind of encouraging. Oh, but they're not going to lose this system. Just trying to think how I can turn this to my advantage as my ally gets picked apart by the Grey Tempest. Okay. Yeah, we'll just let things run by for now. Going to move a little bit closer to these entryways while the science ship is exploring this side. I'm going to give them a slightly different pattern. So the idea here is just to focus on one side of the system so that if they do come through the... Like, so obviously we're protecting this side here. And then as we move to this side, we'll have, again, we'll have defenses. So obviously this is going to be the scariest. So far, so good. The Artisan Troop. We have received a transmission from the Artisan Troop. One of their stations has been destroyed. Worrying. Baldrak public announcement. This is Citizen Rutmag. The People's Revolutionary Council wishes to announce the impending execution of former citizen Fontanga, who has been convicted of demagoguery, corruption, and general incompetence. I will be assuming all of his former duties. My first decree is that the original names of the planets, Fontangia and Chakbimak, be restored. Starbase upkeep, 50%. Okay, no, I'll eat the cost. Get in there. Oh, wait, you're the wrong one. No, don't get in there. Sorry, this is such a tedious way of playing, but I'm very scared about what might come up, so...
Resource scan complete. Hostile fleet. Can we take them?
Yeah, the Techerists are taking the opportunity too, so I need to make this count. Okay. Destroyer, 2 corvettes. Okay, 2 destroyers, 3 corvettes. Shipyard will make it a little bit easier for me to get reinforcements. I think I'll leave the rest of that for now. There is a temptation to buy up. Yeah, you know what? Bunch of defense platforms, and then we will spend for some extra alloys. Confidence waivers. Okay, so this was the one that I wanted to study a little bit. A group of auxiliary operatives in the Loxongrakva Royal States have begun shying away from their assigned tasks, citing a lack of confidence in their overall purpose. Spymaster Toxidol would typically handle such matters without bringing them to our attention, but even without them knowing any details, these operatives seem unusually well informed about Operation Acquire Asset and perhaps the spy network as a whole. Given that these auxiliaries are kept isolated from our more active and better informed agents, Toxidol suspects that operatives are being fed information from an outside source. She also concedes that they may simply be highly perceptive individuals. Given these doubts and the threats posed to Operation Acquire Asset by each scenario, Spymaster Toxidol requests a directive on how to proceed. So... Oh, you never understand? Well, tell you what, Bagel Day, I don't know if that's an invitation for me to explain, but that is like the one thing I'm decent at in Stellaris is the explanations. So let me finish this event and I'll try and do my best to give you at least sort of like a high level overview. I'm playing Criminal Enterprise, which counts as a megacorp. So in this case, trade is one of the things that will, that'll work for my... work well for my empire if I manage it. But I'll do my best to explain it because it's also changed over a couple of patches. But I really wanted to get a look at how this thing works. So first option we have is risks are too great, cut them loose, 600 energy credits, and we get a 12-month operation difficulty of +2. And then let's see where this goes. So it's a 50-50 chance. So I guess the thing for me is that every time I've read this, it feels like I get the same penalty for the risks are too great, and so I don't see why you wouldn't choose the possibility of getting the better outcome. And it could be that the way that this event is built is just to try and take advantage of, people's risk aversion and the fact that they may not necessarily know what's going on. But we'll take a look, and then I can talk about trade a little bit. We'll see where these insights might lead.
Anomaly found. Oop. Hey, can we monetize this?
I will leave it be for now. I want to investigate it, but obviously we're fighting with the Techerus link to explore the system first, so I need to make sure that we keep ahead of them. Although I think they ran off because of the invasion. Panicked operatives. Here we go. Our auxiliary operatives in the Loxangrak-Va Royal States have reacted with horror upon learning the truth of their once intangible suspicions. Spymaster Toxidol revealed only a glimpse of the bigger picture to them, but it was sufficient to disrupt our supply lines. Our ability to subvert Loxangrak-Van encryption is reduced for a time. So yeah, oh, here we go. It's a plus... No. It's still +2 difficulty. Yeah, so far as I can tell, I guess the way I like of thinking about this is like expected values, right? So I can spend 600 credits to get 12 months at +2 difficulty, or I can not spend 600 credits and either get -1 difficulty for 3 years or +2 difficulty for 12 months. So in this case here, it seems that if you don't take the risk, you're out 600 credits at a minimum. Okay, let's talk trade. So first of all, I think we all know what we're talking about, but because these things wind up on YouTube and there might be somebody else who's thinking, we basically don't have the benefit, for YouTube stuff, we don't have the benefit of context. So just to be clear about what we're talking about for anybody who might be watching this later, we're not talking about trade deals. That is trade, and it can be very beneficial. But we're not talking about negotiation with another empire. We are also not talking about using the market. I believe these numbers are affected by all empires once you open the galactic market. Of course, we are the market leader, so we get a really sweet discount. And this is complicated and interesting in its own way, but what we're specifically talking about here is the trade resource, which you can get from certain planets. You'll notice that the planets that I've colonized have a trade value, but some systems have trade on its own. I always forget. So apparently this is a toxic world that's worth trade. And then finally, you can earn some trade from buildings like the commercial complex. I don't think I have any on a planet, but I can probably point to a building that's generating trade. Clerks should. No, that's an executive. That's not a clerk. So these slave clerks are generating trade value. So the trade that we're talking about here is you can almost consider it a resource like energy or science, or I don't think you get unity from planets or alloys. But the challenge here, right, is that you don't actually see it up on the screen. And the question is, what does trade get you? And the answer to that is quite a bit, but it can be a little hard to parse out exactly where it comes from. So probably one of the most useful things that you can get from trade would come under your... Oh, was it? No, economic policy... Right, no, those relate to the jobs. It's trade policy. So you've got three options here, or at least my species has three options. And it's a question in terms of what you convert your trade value into. So we've chosen wealth creation. The purpose of trade is to generate profits for individuals and revenues for the state. We should focus our trade efforts fully on the creation of wealth. And so in this case, every trade value that I collect will get me 1 energy credit. We could do consumer benefits. Profits and taxes must take second place to improving the lives of our citizens. We should focus our trade efforts towards the manufacture and distribution of everyday necessities. And then each collecting trade value earns us 5 energy and 0.25 consumer goods. Finally, marketplace of ideas. And of course, this is quite a bit more powerful now that Unity affects so much more in the game after the latest Custodian update. Trade can be used not only to move goods around, but also to facilitate the spread of ideas. We should focus our trade efforts towards ensuring that the message of our governments is heard on all planets where we do business. So this is one of the things that makes trade interesting, but also potentially difficult to deal with. There is no direct answer in terms of saying, well, what do I get from trade? The one thing you know you're going to get from trade will be energy credits. But the follow-up question is, what else do I get from it? So, for instance, one question you might ask is like, well, if you've been struggling so much in terms of consumer good. Actually, here, let me give you a practical example. This isn't the only thing to say about trade, but let's, I'm actually going to write this out on my tablet because I haven't actually done this calculation yet, and it might be interesting. So if I mouse over my energy credits, it'll tell me how much I'm currently earning in trade, or it should. Yeah, so I'm earning 1,335.15 from all the trade that I'm collecting. Again, remembering that we have wealth collection, so this could basically, the way I read this is that across my empire, I'm generating 1,335.15 in total. So then the question is like, okay, so if I go to consumer benefits or marketplace of ideas, I got to cut that number in half. I'll be earning 0.5 from energy credits. So I don't have a calculator in front of me right now, but that's something like, was it 678, let's say? That's rounding up a little bit, but it's not that much. So first of all, I would be running a deficit if I did this. But of course, I would be turning some of that into consumer goods. So I can take, half of my 678, which would, hey, the exception, how you doing? We would get 339, something like that. I mean, I've got my tablet, but I don't want to switch between the scratch pad and the calculator. But again, this is like napkin math. So I'm doing all right, the exception. I had an absolutely bananas day today, so I started late. Looks like I'm actually doing a full-length stream tonight, but I do have a tough day at work tomorrow. So, in any case, when I was talking about trade, so right now we're buying 55 consumer goods in order to be able to kind of satisfy our demand in our empire. And right now, I'm going for 4 per unit. In practice, it's more like 2. So basically, to me, the extra money is better, right? Because if I switched to the other trade policy, I would be generating a massive surplus of consumer goods. Now, admittedly, I could sell it, but I'd be selling it at about 1.8, and that would be driving the price down. And I would also be running a small deficit. I mean, I'd make it up sort of. I'd be paying 110 for, in practice, I'm paying about 110 for the consumer goods that I'm getting right now. But again, I'd be going from a 600 energy credit surplus for instead to a, like about a, I don't know, double digits at least in terms of energy credits. So that deal doesn't quite work for me. Now, as a longer term policy, I might say it's like, okay, well, that's true, but maybe I could turn my industrial worlds and focus them on alloys. And so, you know, I'm spending 772 for 100 alloys, so that's 700 energy credits that I'm putting in. You know, maybe that's a little bit more attractive. And in fact, if I get really clever with my policies, I could say, all right, so we're already in militarized economy. So, but yeah, so basically the idea here, right, is that I am reassigning productive assets, my people, towards things that I might be able to, like, do better. You know, I could take all of these artificers and I could turn them into scientists, or I could get them making alloys or any of these things. And then you kind of see how this gets a little bit more complicated as you go by. You can do the exact same reasoning as far as Unity is concerned. So, you know, again, if I switch to Marketplace of Ideas, then I say, okay, well, how many bureaucratic centers am I building, and can I turn those maybe into something like research labs, or could I turn them into foundries, or what have you? So that's basically it. Again, if you want it to keep simple, just say one trade is worth 1 energy credit. And if you want to get into the more complicated search, you can. But then the question is, how do you get trade? So some jobs will just generate trade on their own. Again, habitats are not the best example of this, but clerks are probably the best example of generating trade. In this case here, my standard Raxari population are generating about 6.2 per turn. That's why you see these fractional values in my overall rundown. Yeah, no worries, big old day. I mean, this is the thing. Sometimes you can go to the wiki. Oh, I've changed this. Sometimes the wiki will help. But to me, I like talking about my thought process behind some of these things. I like being able to explain the trade-offs that I'm facing between certain decisions that I made in this game. So if you're ever sort of at a loss in terms of, you know, well, how do I get more trade? Well, in this case, we could say, okay, well, what happens if we build a commercial zone? Well, it kind of already says it, right? That clerics will produce trade value and amenities. And in my case, I also have merchants. So merchants will turn consumer goods into Unity, amenities, and trade value. So in this particular case here, if I build a commercial zone, I can expect that merchant to produce... Actually, I don't know how much the merchant's going to produce, but the trade value that's produced... Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, I'm being an idiot. Over the 4 jobs, it's expecting to produce 9 amenities and 30 trade. So, you know, I get 4 jobs. Out of those 4 jobs, I'm generating 30. I actually think I probably generate more trade value. I don't know if that's accounting for the merchant or not. But basically, it's like anything else in this game, right? Notice here that my manager generates Unity and trade value. A lot of these jobs do actually have, and again, I can't remember which parts are specifically because I'm playing a megacorp and which ones just always generate trade value. Researchers, though, obviously don't. You've got, you know, your research labs and such. And I believe if you have the there's a stock market, which I think gives you a percent-based bonus to your trade values or that. But the ones that you really want to look for trade are basically going to be city districts, commercial zones, and then, I mean, it says administrative office. Actually, you know what? This is one that the wiki should be able to answer for us. Although the way it's describing these, it makes me think that this might be out of date. Okay, yeah, no, it's manager. So my suspicion here is that it's the fact that I have managers that are generating the trade. So my apologies. Again, it's one of these things where if I don't know for certain, I don't want to be misleading. So I suspect for a normal empire, you would not see that trade value. But again, this is the value of mousing over things, right? So one way or another, though, we know that certain worlds are going to generate a certain amount of trade. And in fact, it tells you right here, trade value is 130.57, 9 from POPs, 84 from POP jobs, and then I've got a whole bunch of percent-based bonuses. Mercantile marketplace of better ideas, mercantile traditions finished, buzzword standardization, and high stability. So, and I mean, this is true of the real world, right? If you've got good infrastructure, if you've got a stable society that respects property rights and such, you are going to see more commerce. And then if you are in the middle of, anarchy, generally you tend not to see people founding startups. Probably didn't require elaboration. There is one last component to trade, though. So in addition to trade happening on planets, or like colonized worlds, there is the trade that can be picked up from space. So if you want to grab the trade that's on planets, you need a starbase. And I believe a starbase will start with, I'm just trying to think of the best way to check. I don't know if I have a way, but I believe a starbase will start with 1 collection range. So if you are next door to something... Wait, I don't think that could be true, because why would I have built something on Maya? Maybe it does actually start... That's weird. Collection range isn't something that's listed on... Sorry, I'm thinking to myself right now just because I need to reason through it. Yeah, I guess it doesn't say what the default collection range is. Anyways. So basically, you need a starbase. Let's just say at a minimum, the starbase that you build is going to collect the trade value that is on a world. So in this case, we've got Zygar Prime, which has got 16, and then Zygar 6 Habitat is also being collected here. And then what I did was I built a trade hub. So the trade hub will add 1 to the collection range, which in this case got me the 2 on Maya, but more importantly, it got me the trade value on Zandaban. So you can sort of think of this, if you've ever played Europa Universalis, you know how there's like trade routes. And so if you control certain trade hubs, that gives you trade power, that basically gets you more of a claim on the economic activity that's running through that region. Sort of a similar idea here, except that like much of Stellaris, you have more control over what's happening in the galaxy. You get to decide where those ports go. So in this case here, the majority of the trade that's being picked up is a byproduct of the trade that I'm generating on these worlds, right? So actually, there is a question as to whether or not if I didn't have a starbase here, whether or not I'd still be collecting that trade. I should be able to answer that if I've got a remote colony. I don't anymore, damn it. Okay, I'm gonna need to figure out if you still get... No, actually, I don't think you get the trade if you haven't hooked it up to the network. Anyways, let's leave it to... Let's not worry about colonized systems for now. We'll just talk about the trade that occurs naturally on planets. In this case here, I added the extra collection. And like any resource, if you hit Alt, if it's green, you're collecting it. And if it's not green, you're not collecting it. I'm pretty sure... Yeah, no, definitely. It was, these numbers were white when, before I built the station. I wouldn't have built the station otherwise. So, sorry, I'm second guessing myself on some of this stuff. But yeah, so basically you build starbases to be able to collect the trade from regions. So if you've got a planet with a high trade value, again, you can think of this as 96 energy credits, or if you go for something like the If you go for something like the consumer goods, then, you just do the math in your head, divide by 4, and you'll get however many consumer goods that you're getting. So the last question is like, well, what about these trade routes, right? What about all these connections? So basically, the idea is that these spaceports are all going to sort of follow certain trade flows. And you notice these little skulls on these things. And this is where piracy becomes a problem or a deal. So your trade flows through different regions, and there are varying degrees of protection. So for instance, this system has a trade protection value of 38, which guarantees that up to 38 trade value is protected from piracy. And it'll give you a breakdown about how that works. So the Starbase itself is providing 26, and then there's a base protection value of 12. I think I got that from one of my Unity ideals. And it's saying that 96 is getting collected from the trade hub. Of course, we could have hit Alt and seen that ourselves. In this case, the 24, it tells you which is picking it up. So this 24 is flowing from this planet into Zygar. Zygar is then sending it along to the homeworld. So trade passes through each of these areas, and it's going to tell you a breakdown of how that trade is being sort of worked with. So this trade route is worth 122.97 in terms of the total value. There's a certain amount of piracy that you can hit. So basically, the Starbase in Castor and the Starbase in Zygar are adding a certain amount of protection, plus the base. So 26 plus 36, we're up to 62, and then we add 12, we get to 74. But again, we've got 122.97 coming through the system. And so there's going to be a certain amount that's going to fall to piracy if I don't defend. Now, there's different ways that you can defend. You can move fleets through these regions. Of course, my fleets are currently being occupied. But you can fly fleets through the regions. Generally, smaller ships are better at protecting trade routes than not. That's actually a really good use for the patrol feature on your fleets if you don't have that, or if you haven't used that before. Or alternatively, you can just bulk up your star bases. So there's a reason why I tend to build hangar bays, because they give +1 to protection range and +10 to trade protection, as opposed to, say, Castor, which you get a +1 to protection range with a missile battery, but you only get +5 to trade protection. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm making sure that a certain amount of trade doesn't fall into pirate hands. But you notice, right? The value, or does it change? I would have thought it had gone down because of what's being lost to piracy. Oh, no, it says piracy effects of 0. Oh, that's right. Okay, no, I get it. So the maximum value of piracy is minus 3074. But I have 70, so I know that the piracy value is never going to exceed the trade going through this region. Now, that'll change. If the trade value keeps going up, there's going to be a certain amount of piracy, but right now my defenses are sufficient to protect from the piracy. I do have a system where that's not true, though. So Zygar is generating 96. It's not generating 96. It's pulling in more. This particular trade hub is generating, why doesn't it give me that number anymore? 122.97 from the combined amount. So then it keeps flowing through. Now Castor is generating a bunch of trade itself, 131. So in this node, where everything's sort of combined, there's now a total trade value of 254.66, right? One coming from this area, one coming from this area. So if you were a pirate and you wanted to try and get a big payday, the Torrival system is going to be your ideal target, but I've got 2 star bases covering it. So again, there's 36 coming from Castor, 26 coming from Shorax, 12 in terms of base protection. The total amount that I'm defending by exceeds the maximum piracy level for now. Finally, we move to Shorax. Again, Shorax is worth more. They're adding a certain amount of trade, so this is, or it should be, nope, this is still 254.66, so I guess the Subra system. Yes, the Subra system does not have a starbase in it. It's also out of the range of one of the other systems. So it generates 398.85 trade. The maximum piracy value is 99.71. The current piracy is 47.20. But the reason why this skull is red, again, we can do the math. So 36 plus 26, in that case it's 62. Add the 12. In that case, you've got your 74. But if the max piracy value is 9971, it now means that there's enough piracy in the region to be able to exceed the defenses. So at some point, the amount of trade that's going to be going through this system will be less than what it could be because of basically this waste, the amount that's claimed by piracy. And then it gets to the home world, and that's basically, that's what it collects. It collects a bunch of money from the incoming trade routes. And again, all of your different bases do that. I wouldn't expect this trade route to produce a whole lot. Or anything for that matter. Yeah, 0, 0. Because I mean, the purpose of this base is to protect the system, not to collect trade. This is my trouble one. So basically, the max piracy value is 168.93. And we've put a lot into defending it, 54, 46, 12, so it's 112, but I still need like another in 50, and that's because there's 675, 74 coming in from trade. And it makes sense, right? Because there's so many, like 124, 105, 149, all of the trade of this entire sector is being directed through this one area here. So, if there was an alternative, I could try and reroute the trade, through other means to try and make the trade routes less valuable. What I did instead was try and move the fleets around. So anyways, I just threw a whole lot of information at you all at once. So the idea here is that the trade that you collect is not necessarily the trade that you generate. You actually need to build a trading infrastructure using your bases, your star bases. And once you get to certain values of trade, you do actually need to make sure that it's defended. And that is another lesser reason to have a navy. Obviously, the main reason you want a navy is to be able to project power and take over your neighbors, because it's a war game. But trade can be protected by ships, and in some cases, it might be beneficial to have some ships floating around the area rather than just constantly building different star bases. So I'm not necessarily going to say the way I've set this up is ideal, but essentially what I've done here, because I am a commerce-based, because I'm a megacorp and I do generate a lot of trade, I've made it so that based on sort of the global price that I'm facing, right, I find it considerably easier to buy lots of consumer goods with the money that I'm earning from energy credits. If that changes, I will change my policies accordingly. And I think that's one of the things that makes trade very interesting, right? It's obviously a much more complicated affair than some of the other things. Like, some people may just not want to interact with the mechanic because it's certainly a little bit more involved than, my fleet is a significantly larger number than my enemy's fleet. And so I feel comfortable going into that system. Obviously, there's more to combat than that, but sometimes it sometimes can just boil down to that factor. I mean, that's how I learned Crusader Kings, was just take one big number and move it on top of the other one, and then I learned some of the subtleties. But one of the things that can make trade very powerful is the opportunity. Why am I doing edicts? As long as you kind of have a good 10-year time horizon in terms of what your needs are going to be, like if there was a sudden shortage of consumer goods, boom, I do consumer benefits, and I just start selling the surplus consumer goods to a galaxy that's paying a higher price for it. Or if one of the options I was considering, because I did this playthrough before the Unity changes were introduced in the new Custodian update, one of the things I was considering was Marketplace of Ideas to be able to boost up my Unity. But again, I'm doing okay in terms of that generation. So one of the things that can make trade really interesting is just the options that it gives you, rather than just necessarily thinking of it as isolating, only doing energy or only doing consumer goods. But I know I probably also went a little bit further than you were intending. So if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. And that's, of course, open to anybody else in the chat. But I think that is what I know. The only thing I didn't really talk about was connecting star bases. But generally the game, I feel like it does a good job. If you want to see that, I can go into it. But I very rarely had to actually manually connect the bases. So hopefully that wasn't too over the top for everyone. I do know I have a tendency to go on for a bit.
Technology acquired.
Okay, dark matter drawing. This exotic substance has many properties that seemingly defy the laws of physics. Harvestable concentrations can only be found near black holes or in certain nebulas. Yeah, no worries, big old Dave. Like I said, I'm not the best Stellaris player, but the one thing that I have gotten as feedback is that again, I don't like self-congratulatory stuff, but I'm told that I have enough of a grasp of the mechanics that I can explain them. So, and that's the least I can do as far as the key they gave me. Also, sometimes just experimenting is a great way to figure this stuff out. But okay, let's go send them on. Not sure if I want to send them on Zygar or Zandaban. Let's send them to Zandaban. And the Techerus link just did a non-aggression pact with my ally, which is good. So again, just looking at the balance of power, I'm slowly... oh, actually, I am a potential candidate for the... Oh! So yes, the new council is going to start looking quite interesting. Because we now outweigh... No, sorry. I'm ignoring the Loxon Grakva Royal States, which are actually a fairly considerable foe. We need to cut them down to size, I think. Given the fact that they only seem to... Oh, wow. Yeah, they've really bulked up. Again, they're going to be scared of my neighbor. But I need to be careful, and I definitely need to be reinvesting in my defenses. I'm gonna rely on the fear of the ally for the next little while, but I definitely think a humiliation war is in our future. I don't even remember what measure that was. Natural sanctuaries. Okay, cool. So we've kind of cut everyone off at the knees as far as economic power. Let's see what that did to the numbers. Yeah, didn't change things too much, but... Oh! That is the 3 of them, right? Yeah. I suspect we're going to lose quite a bit out of this. Oh, they lost a lot too, though. So we lost a battleship, 2 corvettes. All right, that's not the worst. Obviously, I'd prefer not to lose the battleship, but if we have to lose something...
Technology discovered. Rad!
All right, Corps of Engineers. So the upgrade costs are lower and the speed is higher, or faster. The creation of a dedicated naval engineering corps will greatly benefit the construction of deep space defense platforms, decreasing building costs and increasing durability. Very tempting to do synthetics, but again, we want to go for the cheap tech to try and close. Now, again, the likelihood of us leapfrogging our neighbor and turning them into a subsidiary is less likely, but I did say stick to the plan. We may have other means of achieving that goal. So we will do construction templates, planetary build speed goes up, and the empire size from districts goes down, which will hopefully help us with our research. The empire size bonuses are fairly substantial for me now. I also want to be very careful with my science ship.
Resource scan complete.
I've got some replacements. So, this is the one who had, yeah, the Tala Void Stalkers needed the destroyer. So we'll combine those. I've only got 2 corvettes left, so one's got 19. They both have 19, so. I mean, we kind of knew this was going to happen. Like, it's not the most convenient way of getting ships here, but it's getting tantalizingly close to being able to build a base here.
Wow, we really hit this tech out of the ballpark.
Ah! Complexities of interstellar diplomacy necessitate the forming of bonds with foreign powers in order to further one's goals. Okay, the Starbase capacity would be what I would normally pick because I can finally get out from under those penalties. But we'll get the extra command limit. And it looks like we need to buy some more goodies. Although again, we got the money for it, so. Dangerously close. Let's move that construction ship. Oh, really?
Attack. Boom. We built something.
What did we lose? 2 corvettes, cruiser. Okay, 4 corvettes and a cruiser. So out of everything, the science ship is the bigger priority. But we're almost done the system.
Resource scan complete.
That's got to be it. The day is mine! All right. I don't think we're ready to risk a science. Well, what else are they going to do, right? Nope. Replacement corvettes. Actually, it just occurred to me that this whole group can go in there because we already needed a replacement battleship.
Evading hostiles.
You know, that's not that scary. Obviously, we gotta get the hell out of here, but... yeah, the real key here is we need to establish this base and hold it. This is the closest we've gotten to establishing the base. Holding it is the other question.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete.
Run for your lives!
Science ship destroyed.
Yep.
That's coming out of the nerd budget.
Yeah, I mean, that is the risky run. So we'll just add another one of those to the queue.
Boom. We built something.
Okay, so this is looking good. So first priority is to move this thing up to a starport. And this is one of these times I'm willing to spend up for alloys. Getting this thing in a position to defend itself is the absolute top priority. Also take the, I'll take the time to build the various infrastructure that I need. But once we are well and truly established in this system, you know, we can start making some decisions in terms of whether or not we want to go start, you know, punching some of the gray Tempest on our own. Like if we want to start doing some raids. Right now, I'm just doing this to deny it, basically deny it from my my allies and enemies alike. And I do want to keep an eye on what ships keep going through the terminal egress, because obviously people are going to want to explore. Alright, as the operation nears its conclusion, Spymaster Toxidol has moved to secure our new asset within the Loxon-Granakva Royal States. Our remaining operatives are poised to facilitate any cover she may need. And Spymaster Toxidol reports from the Loxon-Granakva Royal States. A successful execution so far, we have won the loyalty of a Loxon-Granakvan rebel, whose desire for disruptive change may be easily molded to suit our goals as well. Okay, so I think this one we had to work on more assets because the difference in our capabilities is just too great. So, launch another one. Got an idle science ship now, right? Yeah. So obviously I need to be a little more careful about throwing away scientists, given that they do cost Unity now. But it's also important to actually like use them, right? You can't make an egg without breaking a few omelets. So again, the temptation right now, because I'm over the limit, is to start dismantling this particular base. You know what? I'll at least cancel. I feel a little weird doing this, obviously, because we've not established ourselves, but it does really feel like the Grey Tempest is sort of on the back foot. Now, the thing is that by taking the terminal egress, I'm bottling them up, so I'm going to be sort of at the front lines of everything new that comes through that.
Boom. We built something.
Like from the manufacturer. So I do want to be careful about that. Never sure how much to sell, but I don't need the money that much, or that badly.
Hostile fleet. Can we take them?
Oh, there's two of them. All right, well. Oh. So I want them to stop this activity. They gotta get out of the way of the... As long as they're not coming to my base, I'm actually quite okay with them going through. The question is, I don't know...
Prospect analyzed.
I don't know where they're going. So if they come flying out in the Zorakan black hole, I'm going to feel like a real idiot. But if they come out somewhere else... Sacre bleu! Well, I mean, I've only got myself to blame on that. We're going to lose it. I gotta be very careful about this, because I could wind up losing both bases. Nah, you know what? Let's just accept the sunk cost.
Technology discovered. Rad.
Now the thing is, we do need to actually deal with the threat in our own territory, so... Or do I? Again, I can always rebuild that base. So yeah, for now, we'll heal up. Okay, standardized prefab templates massively reduce on-site facility construction times. Oh, I should also see the ships that I lost, because I'm going to need to send replacements. Okay, flak artillery. Okay, 2 corvettes, 5 corvettes, 6 corvettes. And then a cruiser and a destroyer. So these guys are kind of stranded right now. Again, we got to see what these guys are up to. They're probably just going to go back through the L gate, yeah. Alright, well, looks like they want to start funny business. This is what we signed up for. Good news is we did just clear the way for the reinforcements. Or did we? Aha! I screwed up. I'm defending against the wrong attack. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to double back. So we're going to lose 2 bases off of this. Attack. But I'm going to get my reinforcements. Okay, and 2 corvettes, 8 corvettes, and a cruiser. So this is starting to look eerily familiar. So we're running out of alloys, we're running out of ships. We need those defenses up as soon as possible. Okay, it's one thing to claim it, it's another thing to hold it. But like I said, there's a plan. Oh, not good. So it does look like they want to go... It does look like they want to go through my territory. So this really makes me nervous. Because I don't like being away from the terminal egress this long. But they're just gonna keep popping my stations if I don't deal with it.
Technology acquired.
All right, gradual adaptation to the realities of deep space combat allows us to effectively coordinate larger maneuvers. We can do. Do I really have to do another? Nope. Collective self, leader level cap, +1. Okay, so I know I've just kind of. My commentary's just kind of fallen to being very reactive. And I'm actually at the end of the... I didn't think it was going to be a full-length stream, particularly because that would have meant I was playing till midnight, but I'm now playing till midnight. So we'll see if we can maybe mop this one up. And then we will see if we can get everybody to
Planetary
meet in course.
exploitation forecast complete.
Oh, great. The music's ready. Oh, maybe not. Taking their sweet time. Okay. Now we can make the move. And I picked the wrong one. Okay, this is going to be a mess in terms of figuring out what ships need to go where, but we'll sort it out later because there's going to be more ships. Okay, so a cruiser, 3 corvettes, and a destroyer. Oh, we're still in the black. All right, hair-raising. So we're all going to head back to terminal egress and pray to whatever is out there that the Grey Tempest doesn't show up while it's undefended. These guys are also going to head to the base in the Grey Tempest and we'll figure it all out later. But unless something tragic happens in the next little while, we are in very good shape. Where's my other construction ships? Okay, so definitely we don't want the bad guys reclaiming that. Bad guys, by which I mean my allies. So we need you back on construction duty. And we need you... Oh. Wasn't expecting to be broke this soon. Oh, come on. Okay, that's why we were hoarding the influence. We only have one option in domination. All government buildings in our great empire shall be monuments to the state, looming over the populace to inspire obedience, loyalty, and awe. Capital buildings and housing buildings provide an additional housing each. So we're one away from finishing the domination track. I should eventually figure out what I want to do with my ascendancy perks, but that's a tomorrow me problem.
Acquired.
Our latest advances in encryption exploit recently discovered quirks of physics to require inputting a specialized key before it has been generated. I really want that particle lance, but predictive consumerism. Actually, that won't be so bad because it'll help my consumer goods. I think we'll just keep plowing them into the terminal egress until we know we're going to lose it.
Resource scan complete.
At some point, I do also need to up... oh yeah, actually... Hangar Bay is a priority because then I can upgrade my ships. Good, that's us. Oh, God. I just about died. Oh, God. Okay. So I'm feeling a little bit better about holding this thing. I've got an idle science ship. That's not good. Let's get you researching. Okay. Wait, what? There's always been an op. Oh, it's Unity, right. I keep forgetting it's not influence now. Okay. Basically, they get everything.
Planetary exploitation forecast complete. Construction complete.
So this is a battleship. 2 destroyers. Okay, well, it doesn't need the destroyer, and it only needs 2 corvettes. The rest, destroyer and 4 corvettes. Yep, that'll work. I'm probably going to do another... I'm probably going to work out another another plan in terms of refitting these various fleets. Right now, I just kind of want to. I just want to get the numbers up. There is always the temptation to just go hunting the Grey Tempest, but that would be unwise at this point. I might be able to take out the. I might be able to take out sort of the little swarms, but they're eventually going to build more ships, and they will eat me alive. All right, what's your deal? Ah. I was wondering where these guys were.
Boom. We built something.
Okay, I think that's it for our terminal egress base. Again, want to try and repair
Prospect analyzed.
the path. It would actually not be a bad idea to just expand out even further and have more than one path, particularly because that's liquid metal. But it is going to be... Yeah, we're already paying a lot in terms of Empire-size costs. Our spotters have begun ingratiating themselves with targets we've marked as potentially useful. Okay, I've got an idle construction ship. That's never a good sign. Oh. Research first. And as always, I want to see if there's anything I can do with the base, because the sooner we get this thing up and running, the happier I'm going to be. Okay, that's as far as we can go with the upgrades for now. This is going to take us a while to get where we want to be. But getting a Starhold set up will at the very least let me upgrade some of my ships.
Construction complete.
Which at the moment is one of my higher priorities. Am I missing more than one battleship? Well, I don't mind having more than one. Where are the rest of them? They're close, but honestly, if I wait... Damn them pesky allies. Yeah. I mean, like, so I would love to go to Media and take, say, a Caro. I mean, I can try. Maybe after we build in the black hole. At the very least, I want media just as the defensive position. But I suspect that my allies are gonna claim the liquid metal. And again, like, my empire size is just getting to. You have a battle droid advisor? I've got one as a general, but that's because his old war form blew up. I don't even know if he's still kicking around. Where is he? There we go. S875 1 war form. Ask for him by name. Put it on his Christmas cards. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Probably what's going to happen is a week's going to go by and I'm going to forget that I want to claim the liquid metal. and they'll sneak it out from under me. I mean, again, it's just as well that I didn't try to vassalize these guys because, I mean, now they're the most powerful entity in the galaxy. Not that they're helping me in the terminal egress, but yeah, we'll have our revenge. I do need to wrap it up though, because I'm getting close to overtime now, and I have something of a demonic day at work. So it's a mod for the sound of... Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I got to do some more. I got to try modding in Stellaris. I've finally gotten around to modding the Elder Scrolls games. So I'm on the ladder. But this was fun. I was definitely feeling bummed out about the internet problems, but I'm glad that it held for the broadcast. At the very least, it did for me. It says I only dropped 100 frames, so not a perfect broadcast, but certainly nothing like what was happening this afternoon. For those of you who like my stuff in general, there will be no Oblivion episode tomorrow, and that is because Oblivion's done. If you want to watch it, go on YouTube, where you can watch it in 1440 horizontal lines of resolution and all that. So yeah, I need to rest and recharge, and I might do the VODs on Tuesdays again, but for the time being, it's nice to just have a day to myself. But if you like my stuff, Wednesday will be probably Phantom Brigade. There wasn't any Dirty Rectangles this month, so it's either jumping between Phantom Brigade and Industries of Titan. Friday, we will be back to Darkest Dungeon. I doubt that we'll be able to get through the last battle in Darkest Dungeon, but you never know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Certainly, if you enjoyed Darkest Dungeon, check out last week's episode because I think I did okay. But finally, if you like Stellaris, that is my usual Monday game. Basically, for the foreseeable future, I'll be continuing on the my rum running Snapping Turtles. It's definitely been an up and down playthrough, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it all turns out. I suspect I'm probably going to have a horrible loss at some point, but I'm not 100% sure how we're going to realize that loss yet. You've paid them to give you teleport RNG. Well, don't let Uncle Cranky or Knight Valian hear you say that. Bring up RNG, and we'll never hear the end of it. Anyways, guys, Kilgore Trout is playing Duke Nukem: The Manhattan Project. So I know that's a little bit of a kind of off the beaten track. But Kilgore Trout is a partnered streamer. He plays a lot of classic games on original hardware, so I don't know what he's playing Duke Nukem on, but he does stuff like the original Elder Scrolls games. He does Space Monkeys Must Die, which is sort of like a Tomb Raider clone, sort of. Anyways, it's a bunch of stuff that he kind of grew up playing. It's stuff that he sold when he worked in a computer shop. He's got a huge collection of boxes and movies. Overall, very friendly guy. He actually knows a couple of other broadcasters that I know, but I didn't realize that we mutually knew each of them. So he definitely feels like a safe bet, especially because he streams quite late in the evening. And I've actually been able to remember to host him because I know I was normally hosting a bunch of other people, and it's nice to just kind of change it up every now and again. So I leave you in his capable hands. Do stick around, see if he's your kind of thing. I've actually never seen this Duke Nukem game before, except for when Kilgore played it. But again, for those of you who are here for Stellaris, I will see you in a week. And for those of you who are here just to hear the sound of my voice or my opinions on things, I will see you in a couple days. Have a lovely evening, and thanks for hanging out.